the second Taipei Forum for Discussion Learning. I'm second in this portion. So today's topic is John Rawls. Who is John Rawls? Maybe he was the most influential philosopher in US history. He published his very famous book, The Theory of Justice, in 1971, and it was really a bestseller. It was sold 400,000 books in US. So for the philosophy book, it really was kind of a record. And John Rawls had great influence in two kinds of philosophy. It's moral philosophy, which also becomes ethics, and political philosophy. So his idea was kind of to combine these two fields of philosophy together. So he influenced the development of modern liberalism, because when he published his book, the liberalism was in a great crisis, in deep crisis. So his book helped the liberalism to have a good movement forward. So, and the second, he influenced the neo-contractivism, the social contract theory, because before the social contract theory was something that the contract that was made by our ancestors to establish a society, and he viewed social contract as a kind of ideal society situation, that everybody can find his place to find the justice for him and other people. So that's a short introduction for today's speech, and the speaker is my very good friend, PhD philosophy department student, Alexander Samada, and now I would like Alexander to continue the speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Roman. So, as Roman mentioned, the liberalism was in crisis. I would like to start with this point. At the time when John Rawls wrote the book, what was happening in the world? It was the Cold War. So it was the war between capitalism and socialism. Both claimed that they are liberalist societies. And then here was John Rawls who thought that actually liberalism is not on the side of the socialism or the capitalism. So he proposed another theory, which he called himself justice as fairness. And for him, it doesn't matter what kind of system, is it socialism or communism, as we say today, or capitalism, democracy, monarchy, aristocracy, it doesn't matter what kind of system. Each system can apply this theory, theory of justice as fairness. Well, in the 20th century, there are not many famous political philosophers, and John Rawls was the one who did a very outstanding work, and he became one of the greatest, or maybe even the greatest, and the most original political philosopher in the 20th century. He turned out the way of thinking, and up until that time until today, there are a lot of debates about his theory, and a lot of people find some implausibilities and try to reject it, to refute it, and there are still others who try to support it, so the debate still goes on. To begin with, I would like to say something about the social contract theory, because John Rawls belongs to the contrarian theory. He's a philosopher who supports the theory of social contract. What does it mean? Well, the first social contract was mentioned in the Middle Ages, but its highest upheaval came in the beginning of the modern era. Like, there are four philosophers who held the standpoint of social contract: Thomas Hobbes, John Locke, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, and Immanuel Kant. So what is social contract? It means that people at a certain time gather and they agree, they make a contract to create a society, to create a state. What we have like today, with the government and all these laws and constitution and everything. So the question is, what was before this civil society? It was the so-called state of nature. According to these philosophers, people live in a state of nature, something similar, like, for example, animals live, or some tribes who haven't had any touch with civilization. In the state of nature, there is only one law. It's the law of nature. So there is no government, there is no ruler, there is no police, there is nothing. There is only one law, law of nature. What does it mean? It means that every person can be a judge, executor, or whatever else. So if someone steals something of my property or hurt my body, then I can go there and ask the property from him, or even kill him, or he can kill me, and no one can appeal to any higher level of authority because there is no such. So usually there are optimistic and pessimistic view of the state of nature. The pessimistic one belongs to Thomas Hobbes, the optimistic to the other three. So yeah, Locke, Rousseau, and Kant. The Hobbes thinks that people by nature are evil. So in the state of nature, actually, they are always in a state of war, of all against all. They're always stealing and killing and fighting. And you can understand why he thinks that, because he lived in the time of the Civil War in England. So he had a very good example of how state of nature looked like. But in this state of nature, of course, the lives of the people were nasty, brutish, and short. On the other hand, Locke, Rousseau, and Kant, they thought that people were actually reasonable creatures, and the law of nature was actually a kind of sense of morality. So they know the moral laws, and they live more or less decent life. But of course, at the end, they would also agree that conflicts must arise. Like, someone will do something, will steal property from another, and then conflict will arise. So what all of these four thinkers agree in is the social contract. At one point, they all said, the people in the state of nature said, okay, let's finish with this state because it's not bearable anymore, and do something. And they agreed to make a state and appointed a supreme, how they call it in that time, or a ruler, governor, the government. So the people gave up some of their rights in order to be protected from the higher level of authorities. Now, the question about is this state of nature historical or hypothetical is not a big question. These philosophers were not historians or anthropologists. For them, it was hypothetical. For them, it was only important to explain the beginning of the society, or the reason of the state, why the state exists. So to protect all of us. Now, where is John Rawls here? John Rawls belongs to the social contract theory. He raises the question: what sort of arrangement would we choose, or we suitably positioned to make a choice? That means what kind of state we would create if we were to given the right to agree to a state. For example, if we are here sitting now and deciding for our future state, what kind of social arrangement will we choose? And he introduces a thought experiment which is known as original position.